Hello, everybody, and welcome. Have you ever heard about palm leaf readings? And now I'm not talking about palm readings or palmistry. I'm actually talking about writings that are etched into dried palm leaves. Anyway, this is an ancient tradition. It goes back at least 3,000 years. And the intent is that the seeker will come and seek the reading when it is time for the reading to be had. Now, this information is pertinent to people even in this day, many generations later. Welcome to Creative Visions TV. I'm your host, Karen Dahlman, and today our topic is palm leaf readings. I'm really excited about this topic because it's something new. I heard about it before, but I had never met the man behind it. And just recently at the Conscious Life Expo, I got to meet him. And so I wanted to bring him here to the show so you can learn more about it yourself. Now, our guest story starts as a young child where he was born to a mother of Austrian descent and a father that was Persian. He grew up in Iran until 1979 when the Islamic Revolution happened. They had to flee for their lives. They went to Austria. I mean, if they had not gone, his father most certainly would have suffered execution, and his family too, most likely as well. So fast forward, and this gentleman we're having on today has suffered quite a few illnesses in his life, which started with cancer in his late teen years. For about 3 years, he battled it. He survived. Then he had a horrible car wreck where 5 angels came to him and reminded him of his spiritual background, and it really made him have a great thirst to learn even more about spirituality and the spiritual world around him. And then more recently, in the last decade, he suffered a terrible virus condition that led him into the ICU, and he suffered major damage to his heart and lungs. Now, it was this last illness that brought him to palm leaf readings because of his sister's friend suggested he do this. And he thought, okay, I want to clear up some karma. Let me do this reading. Well, during this palm leaf reading, which is also known as Nadia Prophecies or astrology, he ended up being told he would bring this type of astrology to the Western world. Fast forward, and that is exactly what he's doing, speaking around the world about palm leaf readings. He has a PhD in international law, a degree also in engineering. He's a founder and owner of a successful tour business, and all the way from Washington, D.C., let us welcome our guest, Dr. Q. Thank you, Dr. Q. Thank you.
Hello, and thank you for having me on your show, Karen. I feel humbled to be your guest today. Thank you so much.
Well, you're very welcome, and thank you for taking the time out. I know he's a busy guy, you guys. You're traveling all over the world. I think you're getting ready to go back to Budapest.
Yeah, correct. Yes. On Saturday. Mm-hmm.
Isn't that amazing? So I caught him in between his travels. I met him at the Conscious Life Expo. We chatted for a little bit, and I was really fascinated with what he does, and had to bring him to you guys. So, all right, let's get to the story. Tell us about this palm leaf reading for you. I mean, it was quite a journey to get there, but you went and you did it, and now you're.
And here I am speaking to you. Yes, correct. In case you haven't noticed yet, and I hate to break it to you, then I'm not Indian.
That's true.
Yeah, I know. I'm a white guy. So how come a white guy talks about a very Indian thing, a southern Indian thing, I should say, because there is a big divide between the South, which is the real India, if I may say so. India started in the South. The rest came later. And what we do here. So I'm a white guy, so I had a reading done myself, and it blew my mind. I'm telling you, it was quite an amazing experience. And in the reading itself, which happened 7 years ago, I think it was, the reader told me, the reader is a guy who finds your bundles and can identify your palm leaf and then give a reading to you, which I will get to in a minute. He told me, oh, by the way, you're going to bring this to the West. Now, of course, I thought he's gaga because I have nothing to do with India. I really don't. I have no Indian blood in me or no Indian connection. Of course, I'm a traveler. I'm into travel. I have been into travel for, God knows, 30 years or so. And I used to have a fairly big travel business before. And I do love Indian cuisine. I meditate every day and I go to yoga, but nonetheless, I have no Indian blood in me. So I thought he's gaga when he told me, oh, you're going to bring this to the West. 7 years later, here I am talking to you. And it's quite amazing. I should say it's quite shocking to me that I'm doing this because you cannot plan this at all. It just comes upon you. And the reason why it came upon me is I was so excited about my reading. So when I went home and I, shared my experience with people, so many said, "Oh my gosh, never heard of this. I want to do it too." And then I realized there is an obstacle to it because everything happens in India. So I said, "Okay, cool. Let's go to India." And then I realized 99% of Western people will never go to India. I'm a big India fan, but for most Western people, as fascinating as India might be, is a no-go country. For whatever reason, it's too far away. It's I don't know, the food's too spicy. You gotta get inoculation before you can go. All these kind of things. So they don't go. And so I ended up talking to the reader, and I said, "Hey, is it maybe possible to do it online, live, but online, so people don't have to go?" And that's how things developed into what it is today. The institute outside of India that provides Indian palm leaf readings, also known as Nadi astrology. Nadi means seeker, means also the leaf, which I will get to in a moment. That's the palm leaf itself is Nadi, so seeker or the palm leaf itself, hence Nadi astrology or Nadi prophecy, Nadi readings. I prefer the literal name of it, Indian palm leaf reading, so that you know exactly what you're getting. All of it is correct. All of it is correct. There is no right or wrong. And so the rest is history, really. So we started then to create an institute. And the reason why it's an institute, an organization, rather than anything else, very simple. It changed my life, and I wanted to give back. So the one thing that if somebody describes me, I would say two things. I'm a helper. I help. I got daddy genes in me, and I try to be kind. I'd rather be kind than right. So how can I help people? So on one hand, it's easy. I can help Western seekers to find their palm leaf. And on the other hand, I give back to India because it's, the motherland of palm leaf readings and many other things too. And in order to keep it going, because it's a dying breed, it really is. Why? Because many readers are leaving southern India. It's in the southernmost parts of India in the state called Tamil Nadu. And it's a big state. 85 million people live in Tamil Nadu. Just to give it, it's just one state, And they speak Tamil as opposed to Hindi. Most of the rest of India speaks Hindi. Tamil people speak Tamil. So Hindi to them is a second language, even though they're being taught that in school, but Tamil is their mother tongue. And so they leave, and where it all happens is like in the rural parts, in the heart of Tamil Nadu, so it's not easy to get there. I want to make sure that they stay wherever they are and continue doing what they're doing. The good ones, the real pure-hearted good ones. So we pay them a lot more. We support them. We want them to stay wherever they are, so people can get a true, authentic, caring, loving reading, and also give back. So your money that the people pay really goes also back to India. If I wanted to become a millionaire, I would not be doing this. So it's obviously it comes from the heart. It's here to help people. Now, the institute, over time, we realized how to do it in a smooth out, professional way. It's the exact same system as if you were in India. How cool is that? And it's very close. You don't lose the authenticity at all. Actually, you gain comfort and safety. Really, you do, because when you do it in India, and I do not know if some of your audience has been to India or not. I'm sure
they have been.
It's hot as hell, you're sweating, you're tushy off, mosquitoes, and they use, incense. And then because I had cancer when I was a teenager, the chemotherapy, had an impact on my life. Of course it had. So I'm very, very sensitive to scent. And they use a lot of incense. It's like being hit by a sledgehammer for me. It's like whenever scent is a little too much, it's struggle. So it's in a hole in the wall. The reality of it is hole in the wall. There's no air conditioning. It's hot as hell. You sweat your tushy off, mosquitoes, incense, and then he gives you the reading. Now, in your case, it's the exact same experience. The poor reader and interpreter are in a hole in the wall in their office, because it's India, and it's hot as hell, no air conditioning. But you are wherever you are, in a beautiful, comfortable home, sipping a cup of tea, air conditioned, no mosquitoes. So you gain, really.
But you get the same experience, is what you're saying.
You get the exact same experience. It's live. It's live.
Okay.
We have an office in India, real people working there, live connected with you. So it's a 3-step process, as if you're in India. There is no difference. Step 1 is the search. Then comes the matching. Then comes the reading itself. Search means we need to first know if there is a bundle, and I will explain it in a moment, a bundle for you or not. And the search is based on your thumbprint. Ladies' left thumbprint, gents' right thumbprint. It has to do with the female and male part in Hinduism. By the way, Indian palm readings are based in Hindu traditions. That's correct. but it's not a religious act. So you can. A lot of people ask me, "Oh my gosh, will this interfere with my religion?" No, it won't. It's only based on Hindu traditions. So you need to look at this in the context of 2,000-3,000 years ago, when the Maharishis, these enlightened sages, also known as siddhis, were meditating to Lord Shiva, obviously because they only knew about Hinduism. They did not know about any other religion. So they meditated to Lord Shiva, and Lord Shiva then gave them the power of foresight, so they could then look into the future and write down messages for millions upon millions of people, souls rather, onto dried palm leaves. And why palm leaves? Simple. 2,000 years ago, there was no paper, so they just used palm leaves. That's what they have in abundance in India. There's the palm trees, so they use the leaves of palm trees. So it's written on those. They cut them into pieces of maybe 10 inches, 15 inches. It's not standardized, where India standardized, but it's about an inch wide and about 10 or so inches long. Okay. And they would etch into a fresh palm leaf. So it's etched into, it's not written on it, it's etched into. So they scoop out, if you wish, the juicy part, and then it dries up, and then the message comes through. So that's how it's done, right?
How do they scoop it out without ruining the integrity of the leaf?
No. They use a very thin tool. It's like a... it is like a pen, if you wish. It's like a regular pen. It's just very, very sharp, and then they would just write it. It's amazing. It's a skill set. I wouldn't be able to do it. You wouldn't be able to do it. But but these people can. To preserve messages, all sorts of messages. History, legal text, recipes. Ayurvedic treatments. So it's not just palm leaf readings, astrology, if you wish. It's anything and everything that possibly can think of. So a good chunk of it is actually on the UNESCO World Heritage List as an important cultural heritage for the world.
Interesting.
Coming from India. If you have heard of the UNESCO List of World Heritage Sites, it could be building or nature, like the Grand Canyon for my U.S. friends. Or it could be like an entire town, inner city of Prague is on it too. So, they just preserve things for the rest of humanity. So these parts of these palm leaves are on that list too, as a national heritage from India, southern India, I should say.
So they see the value in these palm leaf bundles. They actually are preserving the wisdom behind it. They actually see the value.
Yes.
That's
some
crazy.
Of it, yes. Yes, so these palm leaves, or part of them, bundles, are on the UNESCO List of World Heritage Sites.
Wow. But
not the astrology part, because what should I say? It's the United Nations after all, so it has to be like something that's tangible, if you will.
Right.
So yeah, it's just the way it is. But anyway, so it is part of the same culture, part of the same system, and within that system, astrology or the wisdom that was passed on by the Maharishis 2,000 years ago is also contained on palm leaves, and these palm leaves are stored in bundles. They travel together in bundles, and these bundles are stored in archives and libraries across, for the most part, southern India. It's all over India now, but it comes from southern India, and it's now also in other countries like Sri Lanka, because Sri Lankans have Tamil people too, because when they migrated, they took these with them. So now it's in Bali as well. So you have them in many different countries today, but the original comes from a small village in the central parts of this big state called Tamil Nadu, which is about 5 hours drive south of its capital city called Chennai. The capital city has 10 or 15 million people in it, so it's a big city, obviously. And then you got to go into the jungle, if you wish, in the southern parts, the central parts of the southernmost states, and that's where the hub is. And in this hub, we have our office, obviously, So I try to be as authentic as possible. And so the search for this bundle, which contains palm leaves, is based on, as I said before, your thumbprint, male, female, left, right. And that goes, and what happens is the reader, if you were in the office in India, you would submit your thumbprint right there. He would literally look at your thumbprint through a magnifying glass to see patterns in your thumbprint, because according to the system, there are 108 characteristics to each thumbprint, 108, and that's a holy number in Hinduism. But not all 108 are on your thumbprint, only a few of them. Yeah. So the mixture of those 4, 5, 6 that you have on your thumbprint will give your thumbprint a name. And that name describes you as a soul very well. You'd be shocked how accurate just the name itself is, describing you as a soul. Yeah, it is crazy.
And after all, we all know our fingerprints are unique. There's no repeat of a fingerprint in the world.
But it's about the characteristics. So it's the reader who can identify out of those 108 characteristics, those that are on your thumbprint, and the combination of 4, 5, 6 will give your thumbprint a name. And that name is very unique to you as a soul, right? So, and then he would go on a search for a bundle, that's a bundle, that has the same name printed on here, okay?
Okay.
So each bundle has a name.
All right, this
And
is how it
in
starts.
we're still in the search process. And in this bundle, we have only palm leaves with people, or for people that have the same thumbprint name. You're not related to them, you're not a sister, brother, but you're a sister in soul, if you wish. It could be a guy or a lady or transgender, it's written for soul. That's important for me to tell you, right? 2,000 years ago. So it could be a guy from Japan, it could be a lady from France, and it doesn't really matter. But they all have one thing in common, the same thumbprint name. And they travel together in a bundle. And there are many bundles that have that thumbprint name. Do not ask me how many bundles there are. I have no idea. I've spoken to many, many readers over the years. Let's say millions.
Oh.
Okay, millions, a lot.
So how do you, so the guy's finding the soul name bundle, and maybe that soul name bundle is like, many miles away this way at this library or this place. How does he have to go travel to go get it?
Yes. So the search is a physical act.
Wow.
Now, when I say archive, being an audience from, the West, North America or so, you might think, it's temperature controlled.
Database.
There's security. Yeah. There is 0 computers involved, 0. And it's a hole in a wall, literally speaking. So what they do is they dump these in little holes somewhere, safety box, or just, a separate room. There's no air conditioning involved at all, I'm telling you. So then the reader would then physically, literally hop on his bicycle or on his moped, or use public transportation and on a bus and go from one little archive to the next, to the next, to the next, to the next, to the next. And if it's too far away, he would call an agent, a broker, believe it or not. They say, hey, speaking in, American slang, hey, dude, I need a bundle that has this thumbprint name. So, and this broker would then go on a search in his area, trying to find a bundle that carries that name. And once it's done, so then he would ship it over. So it's a physical act, and it takes a while. A reader would search for 6 months. And if it's not within 6 months, then you don't have a bundle now. Not ever, just not now.
Okay.
Because you're supposed to find your bundle at the right time, whenever you're ready, or whenever the time is necessary for you to get direction. Now, the reading is based on your energies at the time of the reading, which means, and every year your energies change. That's the reason why they search for 6 months, because you could be 6 months into your year and 6 months left in your. So you can start a new search a year later. If there is no bundle, don't be upset, don't be sad. It just means you don't have a message now. You have it maybe next year.
But how so? If your thumbprint name is not going to change, and they couldn't find the bundle for that thumbprint, then how would it show up again maybe a year later?
One of the great mysteries of the universe.
Could it be that maybe they searched in one of these holes in the wall? They go, we forgot that bundle.
Yeah, correct. Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, so is it dispersed on purpose around the country, that southern area? So it's kind of like everything has to align perfectly.
Yes.
Okay.
I think so, yes.
Ooh,
I mean, yeah.
Interesting.
So for the audience that hasn't been to India, if you think that California or North America is an organized area, as organized as one can be, think the opposite. India is completely disorganized. Chaos, okay? Chaos. So why things work and how things work, I have no idea, because I come from the West, and it blows my mind that they find anything really. But
look,
it
you're
works.
an engineer, and you know law. I mean, you're organized.
Yeah. So I guess I'm just a spiritual soul who was forced into a Western, shape to study something productive. So I believe totally in spirituality, and that there is much, much, much bigger things that our minds cannot even cope with. So all I'm trying to say is there is no rhyme or reason. There really isn't why they find one or they don't. So you got to just believe in a bigger picture, which I do. And once stars align, everything's fine. And the Indians truly live this on a daily basis. They do. It's just, they go with the flow. And so when indeed a reader finds at least one of these, then the search part comes to an end. So that was step one. Step two is then matching, which means identifying your individual palm leaf within the bundle.
Ooh.
And once matching has happened, we do the reading right away. So if you were in India, you just wait. You just in the village, you wait for a while, and then the reader will send you a message saying, hey, Karen, come over to the office. We found your bundle. That's a month or 2 or 3 later.
Or I've been waiting 6 months for my reading. I'm living in India now for 6 months.
Yeah, so that's the reason why for most Westerners, it's impossible, really. It's impossible.
Yeah.
You just can't show up and say, hey, let's do a reading, because it's impossible. So, but we do it for you. You just wait, in your comfortable home, you go about your life, and then a month or 2 or 3 later, we send you a message saying, hey, congratulations, we found a bundle for you. And then you set up your time for the matching and the reading. Well, as I said, we now do it on Zoom. We started on Skype. And then, the institute obviously evolved because, in Zoom, you can split and have little rooms and this and that, the other. And we record everything. And after the reading is over, the matching and the reading are over, we then send a downloadable link to the seeker so they can listen to their reading over and over and over again. But anyway, so the matching is step 2 and the reading is step 3. So the whole purpose why I do the search and then you do the matching is to get the reading done. Now, if you were in India, you would then go into the little hole in the wall where you sweat your tushy off, and it would then open up this bundle in front of you. But we do the same on Zoom, the exact same. You're wherever you are, you sip your cup of tea, and then the reader would open up this bundle live in front of you on Zoom as well, and then he would go through these palm leaves step by step. And what I can do is, with your permission, I can quickly unbundle it, open it up for you so you can see these. How
many layers are in that bundle?
So
typically?
each one of these palm leaves represents one human being, okay, one soul. It's written on both sides, right?
Wow.
And the maximum number of palm leaves is 108 in one bundle. Again, 108 is a holy number in Hinduism. But I've never seen a single bundle with 108 in it for a simple reason. They disintegrate, it's very brittle, as you can imagine.
Oh my gosh.
They crack and they die. And so that's the reason why we lose a lot of palm leaves too. And so one part of my job is to keep the readers where they are, because they also sometimes copy over old ones to new ones. So that's how they were preserved.
Oh, I was going to ask you, they're making new ones as the old ones perish.
Correct, yes.
Okay.
So that future generations still can get a reading done. And one palm leaf matches many different souls. It stays in the bundle, because Indians believe in reincarnation. That means the same palm leaf, which is a perfect match to you, Karen, or which was a perfect match to me, Q, in 10 years from now or 20 years from now, is a perfect match for another person. You know what I mean? It's just amazing. And I will tell you why that is. First of all, these palm leaves are written in ancient Tamil language, which is not used anymore. Today they speak modern Tamil.
Okay.
And Tamil, unlike any other Western language, is a sound-based language, a syllabic language, like Chinese Mandarin, if you wish. Western languages are A, B, C, D, letter-based.
Yes.
So first, it's an ancient language that doesn't exist anymore. 2, it's a sound-based language. And 3, it's written in a poetic form, not in sentences. Her name is Karen. No, it is written in a poetic form. So it's the skill set of the reader. The reader is a person who looks at your thumbprint, goes on a search for this on his little bicycle or bike or in a public transportation. He's the one who can match you up and then give you the reading. So and it's only male. Ladies, it would be up to you to move to India and become the first female reader there is. It's a male job in India, period. That's the reason why I'm saying he, because there are no female readers. So he studies for a long time. So a reader, an authentic reader, and I need to be honest with you too, an Indian would sell you almost anything, really. So people say, hey, can I do it myself? I want to go to India and do it. And I'm like, yeah, good luck. Go and do it. God bless you and Godspeed. Issue is, even if you go to the village, and I'm more than happy to share all information. If you go to the village where it all started, 80% of them are fake. Period. That's just the way it is. Okay.
Oh, I can imagine, because you're paying. They're getting money from Westerners.
Yeah, they're getting money. Yeah. Western tourists. Oh my gosh, so.
Right.
And we go at great lengths to find really, humble, wonderful human beings that they live and breathe it on a daily basis. If they really do. So a reader takes at least 10 years to become a reader. 10 years, and then they can call themselves a reader. because either it was passed on, the knowledge was passed on by grandfather, father, son, and so
Okay.
forth, or if one is not as lucky, a teenage kid, a teenage boy, usually 12, 13 years old, would then dedicate his life to a reader and move in with the reader, become the reader's servant, clean the toilet
Okay.
and clean this and that. And then after a while, the reader would start passing on knowledge. And it takes a while for the kid to learn how to read, write, and interpret, find, read, and then interpret a palm leaf. And then if you're an awesome reader for at least 10 years, and then your peers would say, oh, this reader is not just a reader, he's a Swamiji, which means an advanced reader,
Yeah, right.
And then if you're a great Swamiji for a while, then your peers would say, oh, he's not a Swamiji, he's a Guruji, he's like, he's the dude, he's the man,
Yeah.
So Guruji. And I'm very proud to say that in our office, we have Guruji, he's the lead reader in our office, absolutely. We have several Swamijis. And you only deal with the very, very best. And they're very humble human beings. I'm telling you, every time I meet them in person, I'm just, I'm floored. I'm amazed how humble, how dedicated each one of them is. So then the reader knows all of this. It took him a long time to learn this, right? So his skill set is to convert a poem into a meaningful sentence, convert an ancient language, a sound, into a meaningful Western letter. Usually readers don't speak English. So what we have is an interpreter who sits next to him who interprets Tamil to English. So the matching, which is the second step in order to find your palm leaf, is like this. He would look at the first palm leaf and then say, you are married. I'm just making this up now.
Sure.
And because the palm leaf belongs to a person who's married. If you say, yes, I'm married, or I'm in a long-term relationship, again, 2,000 years ago, they had no idea about long-term relationships.
Right.
So if you're in modern terminology, if you are living with someone, even though you're not married, to them, you're married. You know what I mean? So it's just to them the same thing. So if you are in that, you say correct. If you say, no, I'm not married at all, no long-term relationship, then you say incorrect. So you would move on to the next palm leaf. So it's like a process of elimination.
Okay.
He would then say, for example, because he does not know anything about you. Don't forget, Karen, he only knows you're female, right? Because that's what you submitted, and your left thumbprint. That's all he knows. And people can even on Zoom, they can switch off their video if they want to. So you would not even see your facial reaction to anything he does, because he really doesn't care. He's focusing on his palm leaf, right?
Yeah, okay.
And so then he would say, your first name contains AOI. I'm just making this up, because the sound in what he sees on the palm leaf can be converted into AOI, for example. If you say correct, yes, my first name does. In your case, it's correct. Actually, it does have an A. And then you say, yes, correct. So it would then go deeper, 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 until a successful matching happens, where, again, the reader knows nothing about you, just that you're lady and your thumbprint. He will then tell you your first name, your mother's first name, your father's first name, your date of birth, your time of birth. If you do have a husband or a partner's name, kids, if you have any, how many, gender, siblings, how many, gender. In short, and mind my French, because I try to be a little fun and more entertaining than just being a boring conduit to palm readings. You shit your pants. You just crap your pants. Oh my God, how can this be?
Like I said, I knew a little bit about it, and I am amazed because he can go down, ask these questions. You say yes, no, and then all of a sudden you get that.
Boom, boom, yes.
Boom. And then when you get that, though, he goes on and gives you this whole reading, right? About your life, predictions, what's going on.
Yes.
I mean, it gets pretty heavy duty.
It's heavy duty, yes. And that's just, that's just the second step, is the matching. We have only done the search and the matching to get to the point to find your individual palm leaf, to then give you your reading, which is the main part. We have.
That's what you're trying to get to this whole time.
I know. I'm just saying it's a big process. It's not easy at all.
Gosh.
And then so once matching happens, he will give you a reading. And what we do, we give a so-called whole life reading, because each palm leaf contains 12 chapters. As an Indian, because it's very much part of Southern Indian culture, they would go to the office to get a reading done because they're about to get married, or they want to find a partner, they want to get pregnant, they have marital issues maybe, or they got health issues or whatever it is. So they would get just chapter reading. It's cheaper and it's faster. What we do, because we're dealing with Western people, and all Western people are just impatient. That's the number one thing for all of us. I want it now.
Right.
I want it yesterday already. I don't want to wait for anything. So we give a whole life reading, which covers all aspects of life. That would be relationships, love affairs, love affairs,
Ooh.
kids, grandchildren, health, career, money, you name it, the whole thing, the whole 9 yards. And it will give you the good, the bad, and the ugly. In case you haven't noticed yet, I'm sure you have, Karen, but maybe some of you out there, lucky ones who haven't noticed yet, life's not just milk and honey. It's not. Oh
What?
my God.
It's not?
It's not.
You just burst my bubble.
No, I know. What can I say? I'm so sorry.
No.
Yes. So sorry for bursting your bubble. But yeah, so the reading gives you the good, the bad, and the ugly. Basically, the way I look at it now, because I've been doing it for a long, long time, as a moderator too, and I explained to you what a moderator does, is why should you get a reading? Maybe that's the quintessential question of them all.
Yeah.
Two reasons. One is, and that was my reason why I had a reading done 7 years, is karma. So if you carry karma from a past life, the reader will tell you during the reading, oh, you carry karma from a past life. And if that's the case, he will give you a complete karma reading. Your name, age, gender, the country you lived in, your social status, your work. It's a 10-minute thing, and it's quite complex. And then he will tell you what you did then. You stabbed someone in the back, you betrayed someone, whatever it is that you did, that you're now stuck in the vicious cycle that you're stuck in. So maybe I can interject now. Why did I get a reading done 7 years ago?
Yeah.
I had a major viral infection. I've been sick, my biggest cross, we all have a cross, my cross is health. Really.
Yeah.
It's my big challenge. And so I had cancer, I had a car accident. I was, sick as a kid, quite often. My immune system is not the best. And so I do look after my health. I really do. I don't do crazy things and try to be as healthy as possible. And then 7 years ago, I got hit by a virus, which attacked my heart and my lungs. And I ended up in the ICU. And I could have died again, because I could have died already before, twice. But I didn't. And I'm like, God, why? Why do you punish me with continuing to be on this planet Earth? But I'm joking. It's all good,
So yeah, well, we'll have to talk about this karmic thing, because people may not believe in karma.
Yeah, well, I mean, all I can say is either you're open to the messages you receive or you're not. Nothing is set in stone. You continue to have your free will and choice. All the reading does, it gives you a guideline. You're either taking it on board or not. But if you don't blame me. Period. You know what I mean?
Yeah, so. And I have to say, back then, 3,000 years ago in that area when they were making these, they were very much into the karmic wheel of life and death. That was part of their tradition. Huge.
Absolutely, yes.
So it makes sense. You can't take it out of the tradition. Yes. So I think it's important. You said, if you don't believe in it, that's okay.
It's okay.
Because you're still going to get a reading anyway.
Yes. I mean, first of all, now my job has become not only spreading the word about it, because I travel, I go to expos and I got talks and like your show, and I'm very grateful that you invited me, is to deter people doing it, really. I'm not here to convince anyone to do it. I'm actually pushing people. So I always say, I'll be the first one saying, oh, no, then don't do it, period. It saves me nerves, saves the Indians' nerves, saves your nerves, all good. Yeah, it's just the way it is, right?
Yeah.
So coming back to how I ended up doing this is in the ICU, I somehow connected the dots because of my then girlfriend, my sister and my best friend. She said, hey, I think maybe a reading would help you. And then, because through a reading, you can get your karma clean. And that's when I realized, man, I get sick and I do not know why I get sick, because I think this lifetime I'm a pretty nice guy. I'm a helper. I try to be kind, polite, and still I get sick. And so I thought, hey, if I survive, I've got to get a reading done, and maybe it helps clean my karma. And don't get me wrong, I've done many spiritual things, many, more than most people, because, when I got cancer, I just opened my eyes and my mind to what we don't see. That's actually most, 99% of everything we don't see and can't even cope with, or process. So I'm a true believer in anything and everything that's bigger than us. So I was not a novice doing it, yet I did it to get my karma clean. And the guy told me, yes, you do carry karma, and you can do this and that to fix it, which I did. Now, the second thing is, or the main reason is, you just want to get a better life out of it. So what the reading does is, it's based on your energies at the time of the reading. Remember when we said for 1 year, your energies are the same, in the system at least. So it's based on your energies at the time of the reading, when you get the matching done. And it's not about your mood. It doesn't matter if you had a fight with your lover or you made love to him the night before. It makes no difference. It's your energies, okay? It's very important. Because I've done so many readings of people say, oh my gosh, I just had a fight, and is it the seal? Guys, yeah, it makes no difference. And it gives you a likely trajectory of your life based on your energies at the time of your reading until you die. And it comes in blocks of years, 1, 2, 3 year blocks.
Wow.
Okay? Until you die.
I didn't realize they went out that far. So
Yeah.
do you learn when you're going to die?
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely, yes. The reader will tell you, okay, at age 77, 79, and it was about me, that's when the reading stops. So then he knows roughly that is the time when it's over. But as I said before, very important, you want to improve your life afterwards. Whatever improvement means to you, health-wise to me, other people is relationships or money or career or I don't know, meaning or knowing should I go left and right or, whatever it is. So to me, it's health. Now, it comes in blocks of years, and it tells you the good, the bad, and the ugly. Good means, basically the reading prepares you by telling you, at age 55 to 57 or whatever, there is sunshine, enjoy, because everything in your life would just go smoothly. By telling you this already now, you can go and buy sunglasses so you can enjoy the sun. You know what I mean? So you're prepared
right.
for it. Yeah, that's how I look at it. And then, so that's the good part is, the sunglasses. And then he also tells you challenges, let's say age 65 to 67 or so, there is you're under the impact of Saturn. And that means storm, stormy weather is coming up. So what can you do now? You buy an umbrella so you can weather it better, easy. You know what I mean? So that's how I look at a reading. And if it's good, he tells you what's good, so you can expand on it. It's a good time for having a child, or it's a good time for improving your career or your relationship or finding a mate, or he tells you all that, the good stuff. But he also tells you the challenging part, health-wise, relationship-wise, and so forth. But the good news is, and that's the reason why you want to get a reading done, that's the reason why I got a reading done, is at the end of the reading, which takes a while, it's 45 minutes, an hour, and you can ask as many questions as you want at the end of the reading. He then will tell you, he will give you homework to do to fix each one of the issues that he identified. Don't forget, the reading is a likely, not set in stone, likely trajectory based on your energies. And if there are bumps in the way, he will tell you what you can do to fix it. So your job is to improve that trajectory, either higher or longer, right?
Okay, so if he's told you the weathering the storm part of your life, I think you said 63 to 67, then you have the opportunity to, instead of becoming a self-fulfilling prophecy, you have the opportunity to...
Correct. To fix it.
Change it. I think everybody needs to hear that this is not written in stone. It just gives you the inclination, the direction you're going. But we have free will. That's important, right? Free will.
No one takes away your free will. No one. It's not set in stone. Basically, look at it as a guide, as a wise guide yourself. Maybe it's you who wrote it 2,000 years ago through Maharishi Agastya. That's one of them.
Now, wouldn't that be cool?
Today.
You were the Maharishi that was writing them back then, 3,000 years.
I believe in these things. I really do. We can talk about that too in a second.
That's crazy.
So each one of these little chapters of life, at the end, he will give you puja, Pooja, which literally translated means prayer. But in modern terminology, it means homework, something you got to do to fix the issue. And it's lengthy. It's a process. It's not just, one or two things. It takes 6 months, 9 months, 12 months. It takes a while. So you got to really focus on it. And people say, oh, why should I do this and that? Screw that. I thought, no, it's that simple. If you want healing, you got to do something for it. You can't sit on your cute little tushy and just hope for the best. Nothing in life is like that. You know what I mean? It's a physical reality that we're in, and we're going to do something to manifest it. And so basically, the puja is here to allow you to work on your own healing by following the prescribed healing method. Not an inch to the left, not an inch to the right, exactly as prescribed. For example, puja could be on 7 consecutive Wednesdays, do this mantra or this chant or this meditation dedicated to Lord Shiva. On 7 consecutive Wednesdays. A Wednesday is a Wednesday, not a Tuesday, not a Thursday. You got to be finished. I know you're laughing, but we do so many readings. People send me messages saying, "Oh, I started on Wednesday at 11:55, but it ended. It's already after midnight. Is it still okay?" I'm like, dude, which part of this don't you understand? On a Wednesday, finishing it is not a Wednesday anymore. It's a Thursday. So you got to start from scratch. You got to start from the beginning.
That's how that works.
At least there is a healing mechanism in it to fix it. If you miss one for whatever reason, you can start from the beginning. but you got to do those 7 Wednesdays in a row without interruption, right? And exactly as prescribed to you. And if you don't take it seriously, then you don't take your own healing seriously. That's how I look at it. It's very simple. If somebody tells me take this pill, because you go to an allopathic physician, and you pop the pill too, don't you? If you want to get better. So if a reader tells you, oh, it's written in your palm leaf, that's what you got to do, you do it.
Yeah, it's a commitment to the process. It's a commitment to yourself, commitment to the healing.
It is, yeah. And it takes a while, because for each challenging aspect in your life that he identifies during the reading, he will give you puja. That could be 5 pujas, 7 pujas. That means 6 months, 9 months, 12 months.
Okay.
Or it could also be a physical act you need to do. Like I had to do a physical act, not only mantras and chants, but also physical act. For example, in my case, it was 2 Wednesdays. I had to feed the needy. I was like, what do you mean by feed the needy? I was asking, should I do a soup kitchen? Should I donate money? You know what the reader told me? You figure it out. Oh my gosh. I was like scared. I did not know what to do, because in my reading, he also said, I'm going to be living in Budapest. Imagine I live in Budapest now, but that's a different story altogether. So I'm in Budapest already. I don't know anyone. And then the Wednesday's coming. I'm sweating. I was like, Jesus, I have no idea what to do. I'm a stranger in the city. And then on that Wednesday, I'm in a cafe and I see an elderly woman who I perceive not having money, so then, it just hit me then and there. I was like, oh my gosh. I told the waiter, you know what? I'm just going to pay for her sandwich and her drink. Just don't tell her. And so I fed the needy at the right time. It came upon me in that moment. How cool is that? And then I observed her being like, when the waiter told her, no, it's already paid for, and then she looked, and I was, I was hiding outside, and I was like, oh my gosh, that was such an awesome experience. So I've been doing it since. I've been doing random acts of kindness since, for 7 years. And it's awesome. If you haven't done it yet yourself, just do it. I'm telling you, it's just gorgeous, beautiful. It just spreads good karma. And so that's what I took, is one of the many things that I took from my own reading, is that. So it's a physical act, or it's you focusing on a specific god or goddess within Hinduism, and doing a mantra or chant exactly as prescribed. It could say, this one sentence 17 times repeat, or this paragraph twice. I do not know, because each puja is individualized to the person. Cool.
Now, so when you do these acts, and it sounds like you're still doing them because it just brought such great joy to your heart, do you find that your life is shifting and changing, especially with the health-related stuff? Because that's what you went there for.
I did. Well, had it not changed my life so dramatically, I wouldn't be here talking to you about it, first of all. So I'm a white guy, I'm a white guy. I have nothing to do with India, really. I go to India, and as I said before, I'm a big India fan, but apart from that, I have nothing to do with India. So it had a huge impact on me. So in my reading, this guy, I met my partner Emesha, who is from Hungary, from Budapest. And I was thinking, should I go there? Should I move there? Because she said, hey, why don't you move to Budapest? And I pronounced Budapest correctly, by the way. So an S in Hungarian is a sh.
Yeah, I noticed that. We would say Budapest, but it's...
I know. So I would know right away that you are a tourist, a bloody
exactly.
tourist. Exactly. So it's Budapest. So a native would say that. Anyway, so I was thinking about it, and then I had my reading done, and the reader told me, imagine, as an Indian guy whose life, whose universe is about 100-mile radius around his village, period. That's just their universe. And I'm not being condescending. It's just the reality of it,
sure.
Right? Because your universe is at least the United States. I'm sure you've flown around.
Oh, yeah, I've been all over.
Yeah. It's even bigger than that. So you've seen quite a fair bit of the universe, right? So you've traveled, you've flown, this and that. But at the average Indian, like the average reader, the average wife of a reader, they have a moped and they have a public bus, and their entire lives, for the most part, is like 100 miles. That's
sure.
it. Maybe 200 miles, okay. But, to them, that's it. So if a person like that tells me, I don't speak Tamil, but bum, that's how it sounds to me. Hungry. I was like, what? So the Indian guy told me, oh, you'd be living in Hungary. Oh my gosh, I almost crapped myself. I was like, how could he doesn't even know where Hungary is, I assure you. And if I showed him a map of the world and I said, can you just pinpoint on this big world map, Europe, not even Hungary, just Europe.
Right.
99% sure he wouldn't even know where Europe is. Not because I'm condescending, because it's just the way it is. It's just his universe,
Sure.
And so when a person who has no clue what Hungary means or what Hungary is tells you, oh, you've been living in Hungary, and I had it in back of my mind because of because of my girl, Amisha. I was like, oh my gosh, well then obviously I'm on the right path, obviously, so then I moved, and that's the reason why I live
But you
in
were,
Hungary
like
now.
you said, you were thinking about going there because she invited you to go
Yeah,
there, and then he brings
yeah,
this up in your reading, and now you live there.
yes, correct, yes, yes,
Okay, so
absolutely.
you don't think it's like, again, self-fulfilling prophecy, but because you
No,
already had it on the back of your
yeah,
brain.
it was the reading will not have you do anything you don't want to do, really,
Right. Yeah, you
because
always got free will. Yeah.
you have free will, and you can do whatever you want to do. You can take it. I could have said, what? He wants me to move to Hungary? Screw that. I'm not going to move. Done. You know what I mean? But in the way I perceive it is like, oh my gosh, I've been thinking about it. I'm ready to do it
Yeah.
anyway. But then the Indian guy tells me, oh, you've been living in Hungary. It's like, oh my gosh, that's crazy. How would he know this? How can he know this?
Right.
But he did. So then I moved to Hungary, and then he said, yeah, the next 10 years you won't even come back to the US. So just enjoy your life and be happy. I was like, okay, fine. And another thing was like that I'm going to bring this to the West, which I thought is crazy, but yet here I'm talking to you. The end is just to give an idea about the pujas. So at the end of the reading, he gives you a puja reading, like each problem that he identifies, you got to do something.
Okay.
And in my case, in my first reading, I had two so far, is at 77 to 79, he said, I'm going to die, have a heart attack and die. 77, 79.
Wow.
So he had no clue that I had a big heart issue that I barely survived. He had no clue. So to me, to die of a heart attack makes most sense, to be honest with you. It makes sense because through chemotherapy and radiation and the virus,
Oh man.
heart valves are, I might look, I don't look it. I know it's all the Botox that I use to look sexy for you, but really, it's my body's been beaten down big time, and it's only my positive, outlook on life that allows me to interact with you with such energies. So for me to die of a heart attack makes most sense. It really does. And so when the reader who has no clue about my health issues tells me, oh, you died of a heart attack, I was like, oh my gosh, how does this guy know? It's amazing. 77 to 79, okay, it's still almost at the time was 40 years in the future. But then he said, look, what you can do, I'll give you puja. There is a puja written in here. He doesn't make it up. It's written in one of those palm leaves. He says,
Okay.
there is a puja for you, and if you do it, if you really do it from with your full heart, you can fix it. Like you'll have a heart attack, but it won't be a fatal heart attack. It will be a minor heart attack.
Interesting.
And you survive it. And then he said, and I forgot because it's quite a few years ago, but if you didn't from the full heart, like you really focused on it, you will be given the gift of longevity. Gift of longevity means the reader cannot tell you the bracket of years where you die. That's a gift. It's a gift. It's a blessing, So he said, oh, I can see you turn 80, 82, and then gift of longevity, which means I could be 82 in one day or 99 years of age. He cannot determine anymore, right?
So when you had that first reading, you learned about this issue with 77, 79, and you said you had a second reading. Has that changed for you?
Huge, I'm telling you. So I had the second reading done. Again, the reason why I had the first reading was obvious because of my health issue. Right. And that's how I got introduced to the whole thing. And in the meantime, of course, I started the institute and people getting readings on this and that and the other. So the second reading, I was like, man, I was curious. Do I have a second palm leaf maybe? Because the reader said, yeah, it's possible for people to have several palm leaves. It's possible,
Oh.
So I wanted to test a new reader, really, to be honest with you. It was my own curiosity because it's been a few years since my first reading. And how is a new reader? Is he good or not? And so forth. So I said, yeah, sure. I want to go and see if they have a second palm leaf. And yes, lo and behold, yes, they found a palm leaf for me, a bundle. They had the search and then the matching and then the reading. So in the reading, I realized I'm still the same person. So it's the reading overall. I am me. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's not, he did not pull it out of his armpits like something where it's like, no, the matching was as fantastic. It was like, oh my gosh, how does the reader know? Because the reader had no clue who I am.
Yeah, it's a whole new person this time.
Different everything, and the matching was like, wow. And then the reading is like, it's me, so I could see me big time. It's me, but with changes already. Because, for example, when it comes to my lifespan, he said, "Oh, you've been blessed with the gift of longevity."
Oh,
you know what I mean? So that's a big change, And then here comes the kicker. So, I'm a white guy, and I'm sitting in front of this Indian guy in his office. There's a little hole in the wall, sweating my tushy off, and on the incense and stuff. So this guy looks at my palm leaf, and then he's a little startled. He's a little confused, and he says, I don't know, but he says, do you do this? He said, do you do this? I was like, oh my God, how, what? Wow, I'm telling you, wow. It's amazing. It is just Amazing
That
stuff.
is a kicker because here you are, the one who brought it, the only person, you guys, in the world right now who's bringing it to the Western world
Correct.
through his institute. So
Yes.
either he was secretly told that by somebody or he
No.
knew.
No, yeah. So first of all, but you're addressing a very good point because some people sometimes send us a message. It's not just me. I get an office, I'm just the pretty face of our institute. We sometimes get a message saying, "Oh, are they Googling me, or are they hacking into my Social Security number, or
Right.
are they spending time on my Facebook?" Because it's so accurate. I assure. First of all, if you have any doubt, don't do it.
Yeah.
One, don't do it. Two, I assure you, I guarantee you, with my own good name, and it's the only thing that I have is my name. For my old school family, you're honoring your name is the most important thing. So all I have is my own integrity and my name. That the readers, they couldn't care less who you are. They don't. They show up. Well, they do the search, then they're in the office, and then on the day, the minute when the matching starts, they open up this bundle, and then they start. But well, beforehand they do meditation and a little ceremony with incense and this and the other, and then they start. That's it. Some of my readers don't even have a bathroom in their house. They gotta go out. So do you think that a reader who has that type of lifestyle worries for 1 second whether your name is Karen and I don't know, whatever you do and who you are? I assure you they don't care. Not because they don't care as a human, it's just not them. They just show up, do this, and
Doing their task.
and do their job. And 80% of the time, matching happens, right away. If there is no matching, then they will go on a search for another bundle so that you're going to wait a little longer. The likelihood for having a palm leaf, if you have an inner calling, is very 99%. So if you Karen say, "Oh my gosh, either curiosity is a good enough motivator, or inner calling for I need to turn. I do not know if you should turn left or right here. Maybe there is an answer in a palm leaf." Then 99% you have a palm leaf. Period. Okay. If your husband comes, I don't even know if you're married or not, but if a husband or a wife comes and says, "Oh, I want my husband to do it, and here's the money," I'm the first one to say, "No, don't do it, because your husband doesn't even know about it, and why should he be? And that's a waste of my time and his time and your time."
Right.
Because I pay the Indians no matter what. We have 100% money back guarantee because I want everyone to feel safe and secure. Being in the United States, it's a very litigious society, as we know. So, and they want everything done right away, and they want 100% security and safety. So what I do is, we are based in our institute is governed by California laws. We're based in the United States. We do our taxes in the U.S. We do all that in the United States. So we're not Indian based. We are U.S. based.
Okay.
All is done in U.S. dollars. I mean, we have a global audience. You got Canadians and Australians and Europeans and South Americans, but nonetheless, as an institute, we're U.S. based, governed by California laws, which has the toughest in the U.S.
Oh, which are strict, as I know. I'm in California.
Yes. Which you are, yeah. And I'm a former lawyer, but I'm an involved human being. I was never a lawyer per se. I was an academic more. So I'm here for people to be to feel comfortable and safe enough that they're dealing with a U.S.-based institute that's governed by California.
I see what you're saying. So you don't feel like you're getting ripped off, and you work with people from all over the world.
All over the world.
You don't have to be limited to the United States to do this. You can be anywhere in the world.
Gosh, not at all. No.
Yeah.
We have readings for, I'm telling you, all over Europe, Russia, I don't know. There's hardly any country, I think, Western country, I should say, that we haven't had a reading yet. Kiwis, New Zealand, anyway, Brazil. So it's crazy. They find us through like by listening to your show, for example.
Yeah, and you do a lot of the expos too. Of course, that's where I met you. But I think a lot of people meet you there too. You're there answering questions and help people understand this process.
Yeah, absolutely. So we give 100% money back guarantee, which means at the moment we charge $100 US dollars for the search for this bundle. So you put down $100 in your thumbprints. It goes to my Indian office and they start the search. And then you got to be patient because it takes a while. It could be, if you're lucky, just 1 week or 2-3 months. I do not know. And once we find your bundle, the $100 become non-refundable, obviously. And then you get a link saying, congratulations, we found your bundle. And then you can continue with the matching and the reading, and that will be $400. And once after you pay $400, you get another link saying, now you can choose the day for your matching and your reading. Any day you want, Monday through Sunday. We work 7 days a week, unless there is a holiday. Not a Western holiday, an Indian holiday, right? That's important.
That is important.
Well, there's only maybe 2 days where we don't work when it comes to Western. That will be the 24th and 25th of December.
December, yeah.
Yeah, and maybe the 1st of January. But most, like 90% of the holidays where we cannot work is because India is a hugely spiritual place.
Yes,
and
I was
going to say 25 days a year that they just don't work, period. No matter what you do, no matter how much money you pay them, it's a no work day, period. So when I say holiday, I actually mean Indian holidays where there is no way you can do a reading. But nonetheless, so 7 days a week, you can choose any day you want, Monday through Sunday. What you cannot choose is the time of the reading. Simple reason being, it is a live call between the Indian office, you, and the Western office. I got 2 offices, to be able to cater to the world. It's huge. We do a lot of work. It's a lot. It's very time consuming and very much hand holding you throughout the whole thing.
So you might be doing the call at like 2 a.m. for, let's say.
Well, we offer two different times. And since your show is based in California, let's do California time. It either starts at 9:45 p.m. California time.
That's not bad.
Yeah. And the matching and the reading lasts 3 hours. So you'll be done roughly by 1 a.m. if everything goes well, right?
Ooh, wow.
It takes 3 hours. Yeah. Matching takes, 30 to 60 minutes until he identifies your palm leaf. And then you have about an hour and a half of reading, karma reading, puja reading, your questions.
That's really cool. That's really detailed.
It's very detailed, very much so. So 9:45 p.m. California time, which equals 12:45 a.m. New York time.
Right.
So people in New York can choose that time too, and people do because they're night shifters or night owls, whatever. So it's either 9:45 p.m. California time, which is 12:45 a.m. New York time, or I got to calculate, is 3:45 a.m. California time.
Okay.
3:45 a.m. California, which equals 6:45 a.m. New York time.
Yes, East Coast.
Okay, so East Coast, yeah. So these are the 2 times that we offer. Simple reason being, for my California friends, it's 14 hours ahead of California's India. Okay, 14 hours. I'm just saying. And for my East Coast friends, it's 10 hours-ish, and depends on if it's standard time or daylight saving time. So hence, I can't change the time. It's just the way it is, okay? I know it's not super convenient.
But listen, it's one time. It's one time.
You want to get a healing, you want to get a reading, then it's a one-off, that's it. And the times are non-negotiable because there are 3 people involved in your reading. It's very complex, very time and labor consuming. The reader has to travel an hour or 2 to my office in India, right? In the small town called Chidambaram. So they travel to the town by public transportation, and the traffic in India is horrendous.
Oh, it's the worst.
It's the worst, and it's not only horrendous, it's dangerous. So I don't want my readers to travel when it's dark or too late. And apart from our Indian office, where there's the reader and the interpreter, so there are 2 people in the Indian office live waiting for the seeker to come on Zoom, we have a Western moderator. I'm a moderator too. I'm still in calls, not too often, but I still am. And the moderator's job, the Western person's job, is to handhold the seeker from the beginning till the end for several reasons. It could be either you have a hard time understanding the Indian translator's English, called Hinglish, Indian English.
Yes.
Because it's a thick accent. And after a while, you might get used to it, but you might not necessarily understand the reading. So you might understand phonetically what he's telling you, but not spiritually. So all of my moderators are also trained to then tell you, look, I know you heard this, but it means this. So
okay, like, that's good, because those accents can be very thick, and it can be difficult for our ears to hear it. You're right.
Yeah. So even if you do understand after a while, or maybe right away the Indian accent, you might not necessarily understand the reading itself. So the moderator is there in the background the entire time, the entire 3 hours, holding your hand. He would or she would connect with you first, make sure that you're ready for it. Then we'll bring the Indians online, and then we go through the matching and then the reading process. And then most people are so excited, I'm telling you, because I was excited too, that they forget important stuff about their own lives. When it comes to the matching process,
Yeah.
the reader might ask, you have 3 kids? And they say no. And then, but they have 3 kids, you know what I mean? So, or your name,
Oh,
yeah, Karen, Karen, so 5 letters for your name. Your name has 5 letters. You might say no, but it does. So the moderator's job is to make sure that you're on track and
I
you get
see.
all the important stuff right. And then after the reading, because it's profound. I remember how my reading was. I was in a daze, but I didn't have anyone like you guys have now with us. Is to then decompress afterwards. So you can talk to the moderator and just
Right.
somehow process it, because it's big, man. It can be very big, so that's what there are 3 people. It's a lengthy process, time consuming, energy consuming. We really go the extra mile. And once the reading is over, we'll record it all on Zoom. And about
nice.
a week or two after the reading is over, because it takes time to get it all ready, you will get a downloadable link with your reading, so you can listen to it as many times as you want. We take a picture of your palm leaf and send it to you. The original remains in the bundle.
That's cool.
Remember? Because it's recycled for another soul at some point, but you get a picture of it. And we type up the pujas, your homework, into a readable English PDF.
Okay.
And you can just follow them step by step.
That's
and we add
great.
all the pictures of the gods and goddesses, if you have any, to this puja dedicated to Ganesha, for example. We add the picture of Ganesha, so all you gotta do is print it out and follow it step by step. So that's what we do. It's a full service. Yeah, we go the extra mile.
It's crazy. There's so much involved here, and I think I've read a lot of the testimonials of people who have done it. I was doing a lot of research before I had my guest on, you guys. I always do. And I read all. I was amazed. It's pretty tempting. I just want to say, when you hear the stuff that you hear, it's crazy. But I appreciate that service that you offer. Now we've come to the point in our interview where we're getting ready to close, and I want everybody to know the links to his website and where you can find him will be below. But tell anybody final thoughts you may have for the audience here, and also tell everybody where they can find you next, where you're going to be.
Sure. Well, first of all, the website is very easy because it's quite literal. It's IndianPalmLeafReading.com. IndianPalmLeafReading.com. Super easy. Then all you got to do is just go online, and then you can sign up with your name and your email address, and then you will get an automated response from us with a video of me explaining you the whole thing, which only takes 10 minutes, and then you can decide to continue with it or not. So it's all in some ways automated, even though there's still manpower involved. How to capture your thumbprint, that's a whole process in itself, and so forth, and then how to upload it to our system. And or just send me an email if you have any questions to info@IndianPalmLeafReading.com, info@IndianPalmLeafReading.com. My name is Dr. Q. By the way, you need to know I'm not from James Bond, or I'm not Q, a god from Star Trek. It was just bestowed upon me by my peers, when I was 25 getting my PhD. They just, Q is a nickname, and they just call me Dr. Q. And so it got stuck for.
But your first name does start with a Q.
It does, yeah.
See?
It's a Persian name. It's Q-Mars, but Q is just the abbreviation of it. Although I try to tell everyone it's the short form for cutie pie, or how cute is he. But what can I say? It's so. So you can find info@IndianPalmLeafReading.com or Dr. Q at IndianPalmLeafReading.com. We're more than happy to get back with you with any questions that you might have. A reading can help with overcoming karma and or giving you direction in life. Don't forget, you have free will. Nobody's taken your free will. It's very important for me to tell you. It's up to you to make the most out of a reading, period. And don't believe me. I'm just a messenger here, but just go on our Facebook page, which is also Indian Palm Leaf Reading, or go to our YouTube channel, Indian Palm Leaf Reading, or Instagram, Indian Palm Leaf Reading. Super, super easy, all of that. And read up on the testimonials. We've got quite very famous people in the spiritual world, like Gail Thackeray. She's a huge supporter of ours.
I know Gail.
You know Gail. Judy Cannon. She did a reading. She's a huge fan. Oh my gosh! I mean, I was the moderator in her reading too, the reader told her, "Oh, do you do healing work?" She said, "Yes." And then he mentioned quantum healing. I mean, it's a word that didn't even
Yeah.
exist 2,000 years ago. I was blown away. So Julie is a huge fan of ours.
So,
She
so
did
wait
this,
a
I think.
second. Yeah, that word, we're talking these texts were made 3,000 years ago. They used the word quantum healing in those days?
No, I mean, I don't know. I mean, again, these are written in old
Yeah.
Tamil language in sound, and somehow the reader, connected with the universe somehow.
I do card readings, and I think it's a lot like that in terms of the universe can start channeling through you, and you're going to hear the messages you need to hear in modern day times, although he's using these old texts to pick up the messages. So I think I understand how that
Correct.
can work.
Correct.
Great.
Absolutely. I'm telling you, it's
It's
amazing.
just, that's crazy. It's
Um,
amazing stuff.
yes,
Listen, I want to thank you so much for coming on. Where will people
sure.
see you next or find you next? Are you going to be at any expos soon?
Well, we just did the expo in California, and that's the one expo that I do. So I'll be back next year for sure because we've been doing it every year. And maybe we'll do more expos. I do one in Europe too, the biggest in Scandinavia, in Oslo, which is October 31st and November 1st
Oh,
of
cool.
2020. So come to Oslo, Norway, which is the biggest in Scandinavia. Not as big as the Conscious Life, but it's pretty big, I should say.
Yeah, well, the
I
Conscious
do
Life
that one.
Expo is huge, and you guys,
Yeah.
if you're in California, I highly recommend. You know that I went there and I do my videos on that every year when I go. But check it out, and you can meet them there too as well. Would be cool.
And so we're thinking to do the one in Hawaii
Ah,
and the one in San Francisco in San Mateo.
yeah, I know that one too. Yeah.
Yes, yes, that's also pretty big. But the issue is, I now physically live in Budapest, so for me to travel all the way over and do this is a bit of a challenge. So we shall see how we deal with that. Mm.
Well, that's great. Well, listen, it's you have a treasure trove of information to share with us. I appreciate that. Thank you
Thank you.
so much, Dr. Q, for coming on and sharing with the audience.
With pleasure, madam. Thank you so much for having me here. I
You're
feel very
welcome.
honored. Thank you.
So there you have it, you guys. Here's a gentleman who, through his sickness, found his cure through being led to these naughty astrology palm leaf readings. And next thing he knows, he's bringing it here to the Western world. I mean, your life can always flip and change on a dime if you follow your passions and you become the seeker that you're meant to be in life. So thank you guys again for joining me here at Creative Visions TV. I'm Karen Dahlman, and I'll see you again real soon. Bye-bye.